I know when I was in college, we used to have a lot of people come in and talk, and they used to go in one ear and out the other. Being honest, I don't know who's came and spoken thus far, but you may not even remember their name. So what I did is I wrote a little list of the things I wish I would have known, the things that I wish people would have told me after I graduated from college. First thing is there's no perfect business plan. And I think it said on the paper, don't rest on your ideas or don't take too long. It's true. Because oftentimes you think that your plan needs to be perfect in order to move forward, which always hinders your process. Because no matter what, if you look at any business, you look at Google, Nike, it doesn't matter what it is, their business plan from the beginning does not match what they're doing now. When we initially started A Wise Way, what I wanted to do was get doctors and lawyers and professions to break down specifics like what is diabetes? Because the average person don't know what diabetes is. What is a stroke? What is a heart attack? And a lawyer, what is a case? What is this? That's what we initially wanted to do. But when we started reaching out to a doctor, they're like, I'm not about that. I got to reteach myself what diabetes specifically mean. I don't want to say this on camera. So I will say this, there's no perfect business plan. Just create your one-sheeter is what I advise. You know, in school, I'm sorry if I step on you. You know how they want you to create 40 pages or write a whole lot. That's not real. You're not really. You write a one-sheeter, getting straight to the point, and pursue it and adjust. And as you grow, you'll start extending. That's how it really works. The next thing that I wish I would have known is, like I was talking about, patterns of thinking. Like, people follow, like, if you look at the history of us, we follow the norms in order to survive. It's always a commonality that's consistent. And I'm gonna go down to my last one, another point was perception is reality. If you look at the climate today, this will dictate, like if you look at social media, we're in a social media society. And if you go through social media, Instagram, I believe Kim Kardashian is the most followed person on social media, period. What does that mean? The person that's number one always dictates the way everything else operates. You look at hip hop, you look at Drake, now you got a whole bunch of people sounding like Drake. You look at before, you got Tupac and you had Ja Rule, everybody had tattoos. DMX, everybody started barking. So it's consistent, no matter what it is. Whoever's number one, it dictates how everybody else is going to typically respond, because this is how businesses grow. It's easy when you already have a formula. We got Kim Kardashian, she's going to do 18 million. Why would we need to find someone else? Let's just find another Kim Kardashian since people are typically used to seeing her. It's an easier formula for business. So I think you're talking about shirts or whatnot. Like I remember I had a little shirt company when I was in high school. I don't even want to call it a company. We just, silk screen t-shirts, and then sold them to our friends and whatnot, and then silk screen hoodies. And so it wasn't really, I would say, a company. But one thing I looked at when I was doing my research even then, I'm like, what's consistent? What was people wearing? I started looking at pictures of the 70s, pictures of the 80s, pictures of the 90s, And I'm like, what was something worn in all these eras? And I started looking at the common t-shirt, common v-neck. I'm like, okay, well if it was worn from the 70s to now, then that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do. Even though they had tall tees at the time, I don't know if anybody remember the 5X tall tee, nightgown t-shirts. I think it's embarrassing to wear now, but at that time we was wearing them. Another thing was take the sale now. This is take the sale now.
Yes, sir.
This is probably one of the most vital things I can tell anybody.
Get there before someone else.
It's not that, it's that, but on top of it, it's people lie. They say, well, I don't know if anybody ever tried to sell something. Oh yeah, I'll get it next Friday. I'll get it when my check comes. It's always something. You take it now. That's why they got the swipe. That's why they got whatever it may be. If you got something on your website, get the sale now, because somebody is always going to try and spin you. And you talk about the homeless. Sometimes you walk in the store like, I'll get you on the way out, and they exit out the other door. Like, you don't know. So it's just the way, it operates. I hate to say it like that, but it's true. Another thing, I don't know if anybody here is starting a business or whatnot, but it's a company called, it's a website called Rocket Lawyer. Rocket, as in rocket, lawyer, as in lawyer.com. This will save you a lot of money, because what it does is write the contracts for you. All you got to do is go through, put your name in, bullet point, and it set up a legal contract for you. And whatever business that you're getting into, contracts is vital, very vital. So I wish somebody definitely would have told me about that.
So networking, and how are you bolstering or boosting or harnessing that for yourself?
Initially, when I was doing music, I understand it was Twitter was real heavy. Facebook was on the come up, but it was no Instagram at that time. Like I'm old. But it wasn't Instagram. So what I understood is it's just like any other game. To maximize it, you have to pay, or associate yourself with somebody that's already doing well. But to just think you're gonna organically build something for the ground up, good luck.
Yeah, that's the reason why I have got into social media, because all these little like little postings, you see where you're eating at. And, I'm not interested in that. You know what I mean? I want to do I want to open up something. We're just talking business. I don't care about your gossip or your stupid breakfast. You know what I mean? I want to make money. You know what I mean?
You know what? I'm gonna touch on the point. I'm gonna get back to that. I'm gonna touch on the point.
How effective is it for a business? All that tedious even Kim Kardashian. I don't want to hear her.
Well, that's her brand. She has to.
Yeah, I'm saying,
a little bit different.
In her industry, it probably works, but I'm saying how is it gonna work really? I've seen people post stuff on Facebook about real estate and their listings and stuff like that. I just don't see the effectiveness in that. People are not worried about that on Facebook.
I'm gonna touch on that. I'm gonna add to it. We were talking to our friends. Everybody, I'm assuming, mother, father, grandmother, has an old book of photos from you growing up, playing in the yard, playing with your friends, whatever it may be, right? And all the way up, 3rd grade, 4th grade. And I was laughing with one of my friends. Can you find a picture of a sandwich in anything?
No.
But now we developed the habit of taking pictures of our sandwich. How insignificant is our meal to be on our phone by the hundreds? Next thing is it's a website called ThemeForest. THEME Forest, as in forest. .com. ThemeForest. Oh, you can't read my handwriting. ThemeForest, this is about websites. Let me tell you, one of the biggest rip-offs is somebody trying to help you build your website. So this is what you do to get around it. You buy your domain on GoDaddy, you pay for your hosting, then you do a work-for-hire contract. Because then if you hire them in, they'll still do all the same work. But if you fall out or have any argument or anything like that, you keep all your masters. If somebody else designed your site, they keep the masters. And then if you have any dispute, they'll keep it. Your site is done. Imagine if you have traffic, or you're selling clothes, or you're doing anything like that. Somebody will keep your site, or they try and hold it hostage. If you want your stuff back, you gotta pay me a ridiculous amount. But ThemeForest will let you go through and look at a bunch of templates. So if you look at any website that you may like, you can buy it. You can buy it for $100. And then you can hire somebody work for hire to implement it. This is gonna save you a lot of money, because usually a website is roughly $1,500 to get a decent one, or above. Anything below that is kind of pushing it, but ThemeForest, you can buy your own template and then you can just work for hire somebody. Now you can get a website for roughly $400. Next thing is, if you are to hire somebody for doing web design, as I said, make sure you go to, I like GoDaddy, they have 24-hour response. They open, you just say, yeah, they have great customer service, everything, and then you can get hosting. It's like $3 a month. Because this is how people that design websites make money off their hosting. They'll charge you $15, $25 a month when it's really $3. The fact that you don't know will be used against you. So I'm just telling you the things that I wish I would have known, because there was one guy in my area, he designed everybody church's website, all the businesses' website, all these things, and he had them under his database and charging them $25 a month in hosting. Then he passed away. Everybody lost their sites. Horrible. You got to rebuild all your traffic from scratch because you can't have your domain.
Because nobody can get to a server
Can't
and
get
just
to
grab
it.
the data off of it.
Can't get to it, you can't call GoDaddy, nobody will give it to you.
Okay.
Here go a question that it's one of the questions that we got taught, that you talk to kids and talk to people if they don't know exactly what they want to do. It's a question you can think about and it possibly can give you help to know what it is that you want to do. Let's say you have $20 million and you have 10 years to live with it. What would you do? You know, oftentimes people say, I'm a travel. Okay, yeah, you still got 19 million left. You know, after you start breaking it down and do it like a budget sheet, then when it gets down to the real money, like, you know, you might have, I'll pay them, helping my mom, help this, help that, help that. Then you still got 12 million left. What do I do? But that question always makes people come to a point of what it is they truly want to do. Truly. Because off the top of our head, like you said, you want to help your mom get a restaurant. After you get the restaurant, let's say it's the most successful, then what do you want to do for yourself? You get what I mean? Your mom is happy. She loves the restaurant. Now what? You know what I mean? Because this is how things operate. Or, you know, vice versa. I know we form habits as people. We get up and start doing the same thing. And then you start looking at your habits and you can ask yourself, are they progressing? And what I do is I do a little test. Let's just imagine somebody is following you for a month. I mean, they're writing down everything that you do. Everything that you do. And at the end of the month, would that person, they tally up what you do the most? Would they say that you are trying to create a clothing line? If somebody tallied up everything you did every single day,
Good
would
point.
they say you're trying to be a
Yes,
professional
good question.
sleeper? Would they say you're trying to be a professional Xbox player? Would they say you're trying to be a professional womanizer? All them different types of things.
Did you like ever film at school or in the
Fail?
not like do you ever was let down by any way starting a business or getting to where you are?
Of course. I think everybody goes through that. Was I ever let down? Several times. One of the things that I think let me down the most, as I was saying, is believing people don't lie. I guess I used to think that everything was the truth. Like if you said, I'm gonna be there Friday, I expected you to be there Friday. You know?
Yeah,
So it was disheartening when I was having tours, or when I did my first, I was performing as well, but when I was doing tours or when I was first doing public speaking and I invite my whole family, invite everybody, I show up to the venue and it's 4 people. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, this is not for me. You will feel that way, or you can feel personally attacked. But then I started looking at perception. Like oftentimes, people will say, I'll be there, and they don't come, but also, these are the same people that skip their child's recital. You get what I mean? And then I just started looking at things differently. You got people that will stand in line overnight for Jordans, right? 24 hours for Michael Jordan shoes. And then they'll leave, and then they'll complain about sitting in the doctor's office too long to get looked at by the doctor. Like, man, this doctor taking too long, I want to leave. But they'll camp outside of Best Buy for Black Friday. You get what I mean? I started looking at perception. Like, you know, I can't get mad at somebody that don't know themselves. Damon Wayans did a radio interview with The Breakfast Club. And they asked him, he has diabetes. And they asked him, what is diabetes? And his answer was so wrong. He was like,